Well, hello to all of you from around the world. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Wesley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or at work, we are always glad you're here with us. We have such an amazing show for you today. I cannot wait. But first, I need to introduce and welcome my co-host for today, Sheila Applegate, who is a conscious life coach, author, and the host of Consciously Awesome Living, which airs right here on Soulivity Today every Wednesday at 12 noon. Good morning, Sheila. How are you? So good to see you.
Good morning. I'm doing great. I've had a really incredible week, and I'm excited for today's conversation.
Yeah, me too. It's just want to extend some prayers and support to our community just north of us in Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed this morning after a collision with a ship there. So far, it seems as though there's 7 people that are missing. This story is going to be updated throughout the day on all the news networks. So just with all of us, just extend some love and some prayers and to all the families that are affected right now. And hopefully, there won't be any more missing people that they find. But man, what a just a travesty, a tragedy this morning out of Baltimore. So just want to mention that to all of you out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, Sheila, we got a great show today. And I love these Tuesday shows when we're talking about relationships, because today is our Relationship Advice with Melva show. Back with us is Melva Johnson, who's the co-founder of the Johnson Relationship Institute for Couples, co-author of the book Mining for Gold in Your Relationship, and author of 10 Secrets to a Long-Lasting Passionate Marriage. Now, she has more than 4 decades of experience as a psychotherapist, relationship educator, workshop leader, public speaker, co-author, and consultant. She's appeared with her late husband, Jesse, on local and national radio, and as well as TV shows, and has been featured in numerous print media. Welcome, Melva, or as I like to say, hey, Mom.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't know why that always cracks me up.
Cracks us all up, right? Everybody, we are continuing our talk about how relationships provide opportunities for growth. And today, specifically with Mom, we're going to be talking to you about the last of the 3 stages in relationships, something that I'm kind of using a Star Trek term, the new frontier, real love, right? I think a lot of people think or may think they know about real love, but I think they're going to learn today about some things that they might not know. Now, last time we talked about the romantic stage. So let's just kind of do a recap of the stages of relationships. So first, there's reality love, I should say. We have romantic love first, then romantic love, and then real love. So really quickly, what is romantic love again?
So romantic love, that's the stage that brings you together. That's the attraction stage and the selection stage. Okay, it feels really, really, really good to be together, and you see this potential of this wonderful dream life together. Potential,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And then you leave the romantic stage, as all relationships do, and then you move into the reality love stage. Now, what's that?
Well, that's when you find out that both of you find out what you have to do to grow into that potential. But it looks like, in many areas, it looks like conflict. Most couples don't know that that is the stage where growth is supposed to happen, but they get caught up on surface issues and get stuck there, and either they break up or they stay together in frustrations. They have like maybe some good times together, but the work is not done because they're stuck on the surface.
So I remember we were talking before, like if people can imagine two land masses with a bridge right over it, you're moving, your romantic stage is one side, the bridge is, and with the water running underneath is the romantic, I mean the reality love, where you're starting to learn more about why you've come together. And then now you're coming over to the promised land, which is real love. What is real love to you in all, all your years of experience?
So I like this formula that John Gottman has, which is about successful couples. They have 5 times more positive experiences than negative ones. And when they do have a glitch, when they do have a challenge, they work through it as a team, and they work through it as fast as possible. So to me, it's like the real love is that number one, both parties show up as their best self as best they can,
Wow.
to be a contributor to that dream that they felt in the romantic stage. So it's like vision and kind of mission focus. It's like the relationship becomes bigger than the two people, and the relationship is filled with moments of or continued caring behaviors, appreciations, expressions and acknowledgments of how valuable the other person is, how they're going to work together for this, for their dream, what they're going to do separately, what they're going to do together. So it's about showing up. When Jesse and I got married, we were really clear that our marriage was bigger than just the two of us. And being parents, we knew that we had a calling. And so we got in touch with that calling. So that was part of the big picture of us being together. So it was good that we could do it together. So I was talking to a couple lately, and they fit what I was talking about because they have really found their calling in terms, now they do 2 separate things, but they support each other in their 2 different careers and what have you, but they work together as a team, lifting each other up, supporting each other. They have a mindset of, what can I bring to the relationship today to make life easier for you? And when both of them are doing that, it just makes life easier.
Wow. Wow. Sheila, when as Mom's talking about this, I'm thinking about the fact that in many of the people that you coach for manifestation and being conscious, isn't this the end goal if you're trying to share this with someone else, that you're conscious of what your needs and wants are, and now you're in a relationship with someone else that's also conscious, and you're bringing that together in a larger vision to manifest even more of a best life for yourself?
Absolutely. And I think it is, it's about self-awareness that allows you to show up, as Melva, you're saying, like the showing up fully to me is showing up for yourself, knowing yourself so you can express yourself, so that you can change what you need to in order to become more loving and open with your partner. And as that grows together, and I also believe that it is more, I think having a combined mission to raise a family is an absolute beautiful thing. And then there's also, what can you contribute to the world in other ways? And the more you have something beyond just having somebody by your side, the more you have a passion that goes beyond the couple, the better that experience becomes.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You know, it was, I witnessed this between the two of you, in terms of like how you interacted with each other. Didn't mean that there weren't some very strong and intense conversations between the two
Oh,
of
yeah.
you, because you both have your own ways of looking at the world, and sometimes those things would need to be worked out. But there was no question that the two of you were committed to each other. And I remember always when I would see the two of you, and this is funny, Sheila. If Melva came in a room like they were going to an event or something like that, people would say, "So where's Jesse?" And if Jesse came into a room, they would say, "So where's Melva?" It was always Jesse and Melva, Melva and Jesse. Right? I would hear that over and over and over again. So it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Really beautiful thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
thank you. Yeah, it was actually, it was phenomenal. That's really one of the reasons why I'm continuing to do this work, is
Mhm.
because I know what's possible. I know what I have witnessed over all of these years, working with couples. I mean, not just working with couples, but I've seen this in friendships as well. And what is it they say something about, I don't know if I have this correctly, but you can tell something about who a person is by the people that they're surrounded with. So we had a lot of friends who were also having great relationships. So we were in a community of people supporting each other, uplifting each other, as we were serving, because we
Wow.
believed that we were here to serve. Well, I'm still
Right.
here, so I'm still here to serve, so yeah.
I love the fact that we're talking about this in the larger context of relationships, right? Because I think a lot of times when you say relationship, people immediately go to the love relationship, this romantic, this kind of thing. And then you go to the fairy tale, right? Which is you meet, you fall in love, the dude puts puts the slipper on, you go into a carriage and you ride off into the sunset, and that's it. And that's just the beginning, right? And so there's more to come in the relationship as you do the work, right? As you go through these different stages and you become more intimate, and then the happiness and joy and all that stuff just explodes and gets even more as you go forward.
You know what?
Want to take a yeah? Go ahead. Mhm.
There's this, so one of the things that we used to say in our workshops, when we were talking to couples, is like the attraction stage is like consciously you're thinking, wow, this person is going to make my life extremely phenomenal, consciously. But
Mhm.
unconsciously, the unconscious is saying, this is the perfect person to push the right buttons in the right way so that I can get in touch with what needs to develop more and grow within me.
Right.
And that's what reality stage is all about.
And then
Finding
once
out
you
what's beneath all of those triggers.
and then
of what-
once you get through that and you start learning and growing and becoming more aware about yourself in this relationship, right? Because it's always about our work in the relationship. Then you move into this real love, which is just deep. There's deep trust. I just feel it from you as you're talking about it, that there's this deep trust, there's faith in the person. That doesn't mean that there won't be challenges down the road, but now you're working together as a one unit, moving toward creating this best life for each of you and collectively. That's kind of how I see it. But
Yeah, it's like Sheila said, it's the reality stage is, self-awareness. It's about, now how am I showing up? It's like people focus on what the other person should be doing or what the person did or did not do, but
yeah,
they don't always look at how they're showing up.
right.
Because the whole thing about giving and receiving is there has to be a balance. And so it's important not to just focus on what you are receiving. It's also important to focus on what am I contributing to make this work.
I
And
love that.
when it's difficult, then what am I going to do to grow myself in to showing up in a way that I'm contributing to this dream that I felt in a romantic stage.
You know, this is such a good point, and we're going to go through. We're going to continue. We're not going to take a break because this is something that's really, really, really important, right, Sheila? I think a lot of times we think in our relationships that it's all about me and how this person measures up to what I need, right? And if they don't measure up to that, they're the wrong person. When in truth, it could be that it is the right person and you got some blinders on. What do you think about that?
I think that, well, of course you're right. The pressure that the society puts on romantic relationships is so much more than any other relationship that we have, and the confines and the expectations that go in there. And so it's really important to move beyond that, to form your own form of the relationship, of what that's going to look, define it for yourself. And when those societal restraints come up, you know, we have to look at that within ourselves and discuss it as a couple. But the same, if we kind of take away the societal's pressure and expectations and happily ever afters that is put on romantic love, and we open ourselves up to be as compassionate and loving and open to growing as we do in our friendships, then it just strengthens the relationship and actually brings more intimacy.
Mom, that's an important point, right?
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times in our friendships, in our platonic relationships, there isn't as much fear around
Right.
this person measuring up to a certain thing. There might be certain things that you want, but you're not really worried about it because this is your friend, right? And so you see them, you hear them, you can talk to them, and the friendship typically grows in a lot of cases. That's not so typical in like a love relationship, quote unquote romantic relationship, where the end goal is trying to get to what we're talking about today, which is the real love stage, right? Where you've done the work and now you're reaping the rewards and benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that, of how with the people that you've counseled, having them learn that, listen, some of the things you've done some of this work already in your friendships, and you can apply some of this to your romantic relationship as well, with some help from people like both of you.
Well, here's the thing. People over their life experience, they are not programmed for intimacy.
Oh.
And everybody wants that deep, intimate connection. But if they have not experienced it over their lifetime, when they get into a committed relationship and the opportunity is there, since they have not had it, it scares the bejesus out of them and they sabotage it. But they don't know that that's what's happening.
Right.
They think that the other person is doing something wrong.
Right.
I mean, that
Right.
hunger for having connection at that deep level is something that people have to learn to tolerate and take in.
Right.
Because one of there's so many different levels of intimacy, but and I think the foundation of all of those levels is having a strong bond a strong emotional connection, and then you spread out into those other areas of intimacy. People have to grow into that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think years ago I heard this research that I don't know who did it, that maybe 5% of the population is in a space where they can tolerate deep, 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 deep intimacy. And so the work, part of the work in reality love is getting to the place that you can take that in. And that's personal work.
Mhm.
Because your partner is going to give you all kinds of opportunities by the way they push your buttons. To go in there and do that if it takes courage to do it,
Right.
because it's unknown. But the rewards are huge.
I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things that we kind of wanted to talk about too, which is that's one of the truths about real love, which is, yes, in reality love, you're becoming aware of the things that you need to do personally to show up more and to be the kind of person that you've always kind of wanted to be, even though you might not have known it consciously in this relationship. But real love is the deepening and the deepening of faith, intimacy, love, joy, all these other things, because you have a foundation now to build on, right? So it's almost like reality love helps build the foundation, and then real love is actually building the house and the beauty, and the digging the pool and putting the tennis court in and all this kind of stuff, so that you can enjoy your relationship more. Am I getting it? Am I getting that right?
Yeah. When you get to real love, the house is built, and then you
Okay.
can just remodel it any way if you want to, but you've got that solid foundation, you've got that flow together, you meet, challenges come up, and then, the question is, how are we going to, if it affecting both of you, how are we going to approach this together?
I like that.
How are we
See,
going to
that's-
make this day? And, don't even have to think about it. It's just like every single day, it's like you're in a flow. This other person has your back. You're looking at, you notice more of what you really enjoy and appreciate about this person. You tell them in all different kinds of ways. It doesn't always have to be verbal. It's like those little gestures that you see on an ongoing basis. It's like you're in a flow. It's like when you wake up in the morning, it's like you're happy to see this person next to you. So
Wow.
and if you had a challenge, some people say it's important not to go to bed angry. Well, sometimes maybe so, because sometimes you have to get yourself together so you can have a decent conversation to work it through. So that might take all night to get yourself together, kind of thing. I did that. I digress. Sorry.
Speaking of getting together, we're going to take a break so that we can let all this information sink in with our audience today. But when we come back, everyone, we're going to go into maybe some things that aren't true and are myths about real love. I mean, this last stage of having love relationships. So we're going to take this break, and we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today with Melva Johnson and Sheila Applegate in just a second. See you soon. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hey, we're back here with more on Soulivity today. Just before we get back into our guest, just want to remind everybody that coming up on March 27th, Wednesday, that's tomorrow, is another Joy Keepers Cafe with another joy meditation led by our own Sheila Applegate. You want to go to joykeepers.org/cafe for more information and to reserve your seat. You can also get the video and replay the video later on. So listen, we're back here discussing how relationships provide opportunities for growth with noted relationship author and expert Melva Johnson and Sheila Applegate, conscious life coach. I'm loving this conversation today because this is like, it's like you do the work and now you reap the rewards and you keep doing more work and you keep getting more flowers along the way. It's like the best of all worlds. Doesn't mean you don't trip and, skin your knee and all that kind of stuff. But it's so much sweeter on this side of the equation, right? Mom, what are some myths that people need to understand about the real love stage, in your opinion? Maybe one or two. What's one that's coming up for you that you're thinking of?
In terms of myths?
Myths about real love, like this last stage.
Is that this person is the source of all of my happiness. This person, this one person can make me totally happy.
Wow.
That's a lot to put on another person. That's pressure. And people react to that.
Woo. I got shivers on that. Like,
so in the
that's
reality
deep.
stage, so in the reality stage, it's an opportunity for that person to discover how to become happy within and to bring that to the relationship. So that's why reality stage is so important, because you get a chance to find out what expectations. I mean, people have expectations and rules for being in relationship. If they start talking about their desires and how they're going to meet each other's desires, that's a whole different ballpark. But when you come in with rules and expectations on the other person, and that's not who they are, opportunity.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I guess, Sheila, that's where people need to keep their focus, right? That this is an opportunity, especially if you've been with this person and we're not saying, and just want to be clear, because we're going to be giving out some information later on about domestic abuse. We're not saying if you're in an abusive relationship and you're getting hurt either emotionally, verbally, or even physically, that you should stay in that relationship and kind of slog it out. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something completely different. And we have some information for those of you who might be experiencing that later on in the show. But when you've done the work and you're with someone who's positive and you feel good around this person, and it's like you can actually see a future with them. When you get to this stage, it's like, wow, Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
I can see if I can see us doing some stuff, you know, and that if you keep the expectations and the rules, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and now it's time to seize an opportunity, right? What do you think,
Yes.
Sheila?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like all relationships are relationships with ourselves reflected in another person and then commingling with another person when we're creating together.
Mm,
So
mm,
expecting something from someone and putting those expectations on, especially like we said, because of what is put on in our minds about how things should be in romantic relationships. It's you're now married to the form instead of the person, you know.
wow.
And that's so when we move beyond that, to me, I like the phrase real love. To me, is the only real love is unconditional love, right? So at Melva, as you're talking about that house is built, to me, that's that stage where you're both understand unconditional love. It's a flow. Love is not an on or off switch. It's a flow of energy that we enter into. Loving someone in a situation where the form of the relationship isn't working can mean changing that form. That's love. But in this stage, if unconditional love is the foundation, then everything you navigate above that comes from that space. And even when you come into conflict, the foundation of that is the love, and then you can decide together what's best for each of you.
Mm, mm. All right, y'all preaching this morning. Don't make me pull out the white handkerchief or something, because I will pull it out real quick. What's another myth that people may have about this stage? First one was, this is the source of all your happiness is this relationship, which is not true. What's another one that you're thinking of?
There's many times when people are having a disagreement, the focus is on right and wrong, right and wrong, good and bad. I'm right,
Mm,
you're wrong. So the battle becomes between who's right. And they miss the point.
mm,
The point is both are right in terms of where they're coming from. The opportunity is to look at the big picture. Well, for me, the big picture is, so it's not about right or wrong, good or bad. It's about what is it that you want in this moment that's
mm,
not happening. So let's talk about how close we can get to taking care of that.
mm.
And that just takes like all of the other stuff out of it.
Wow.
Because people talk more about what they don't want and what is not right.
Mm-hmm.
But we're programmed, our brains are programmed that way. We're programmed to survive. We're not
Right.
programmed to thrive. We have to learn how to do that.
Right.
So when a person is coming from a mindset of right and wrong, good or bad, they're missing the opportunity to see the bigger picture. And they're also missing the opportunity to see what the other person is bringing to the table and look at how they can look at both of those pieces to experience a bigger picture that works for both of them.
Mm, 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 mm. I'm loving it. I'm loving this. This is such a great, I'm glad I'm glad that people are learning about this, because again, I think the more that we're conscious about these different stages and we're going into it that way, doesn't mean that we're not going to get hung up on some of our own stuff, which is the whole point, right? These are opportunities. But if we're going into it consciously, it makes it a little bit easier, just a little. And it also makes it easier for us to seek support, right? When we need it, because we're like, okay, we're stuck right now and we need some help to get unstuck. And so let's reach out and get some support to do so. So thank you for this, both of you, Mom, and Sheila, for having this discussion. We're going to take a quick break, but we've got some questions that I think all of this relates to today. So Sheila and Mom know the questions already, but I think they're going to be quite appealing for all of you and quite interesting. So listen, we're going to take this break, and we'll be right back with more of Soulivity Today in about a couple of minutes.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us, a place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we are back here with more on Soulivity Today. I've got my beautiful people with me, Sheila Applegate, conscious life coach, and Melva Johnson, noted relationship author and expert, for another relationship advice with Melva show. Guys, we got some good questions for y'all today. I love our audience because they can put forth some good stuff. So you guys know what these questions are, but our audience doesn't yet. So let's get to it. Melva, I'll go to you first, and then we'll get some commentary from Sheila on this first question. Do open relationships really work? And so my guess is this means I'm in a committed relationship, quote unquote, but we can date other people at the same time, or have physical relationships with other people. I guess that's what they're talking about. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it works for some people. However, couples that I have worked with in an open relationship struggled. I think about so I haven't met anyone in a successful open relationship, so I can't speak to that. But what I do know is that as I was listening to the couples who were in open relationships, I kept thinking about who benefits the most. And so, and what's interesting is that all of the partners didn't show up at the session. It was just the man and one person, in the community. So if people can work it out and it works for them and it's a win-win for them, but what I have seen, that it's a struggle for some folks, and also sometimes, and this is not necessarily across the board, sometimes people who allow themselves to share with other people in the relationship, I mean, sometimes it works for them, but in the people that I met with, it didn't. And so taking a look at their self-esteem for settling for less than what was possible was what we had a lot of conversation about. You know,
Gotcha.
so people have different values about that.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think, Sheila? What is your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Melva. What is interesting to me is that the wording of the question was, can open relationships work? And because of our society, we assume that means sexually having more than one partner. But really, an open relationship is honesty, right? It's open to all love, all connection, all discussions. And so at the foundation of that is honesty and commitment to love, and how that is expressed through the people is that varies depending on who it is, because our society is very much indoctrinated with relationships being two people. Then it makes it even more difficult, right? Because then you're going against society. But there is an undercurrent of that society where it's like act and don't tell, right? And I think that's worse than an open discussion. So I do think I have known couples in which that could work, that works. I think it takes a high level of self-awareness and love and commitment to that unconditional love. And I don't think it's an easy thing in our society. And sometimes that feeling of insecurity or not wanting to deal with our issues is what actually propels that in a very unconditionally loving couple society. Well, I just said couple, right? Loving expression, then that might even be a natural thing, but our society is not supporting that right now. So it brings up a whole bunch of opportunities to use Melva's word.
I love the fact that you guys, both of you, expanded this, the answer to this question, that there isn't like one solution or one perspective or that kind of thing, and that there's no judgment here, right? There are people where this works and can work well. Sheila, you brought up the fact that from a societal standpoint, that's not really accepted, but it doesn't mean that it can't work, right? And that maybe all of us should kind of, this goes into other things about how we love each other and that kind of thing, and acceptance and things around other aspects of like diversity, equity, inclusion, and all and a sense of belongingness and beingness, right? That's all kind of tied up into this. So thank you for that. It's really good, great answers. Let's see. Mel, I got another one for you here. How do I know if I'm deeply in love with a person or if it's just an attachment? Wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, when people connect, they feel attached. And so deeply committed to what? To me, love is a feeling, it's a noun and a verb. And so what are you committed? What is the question?
How do I know if I'm deeply in love with a person or if it's just an attachment?
Write it out. Write it out. And see what happens over time. I mean, because the whole thing about not only pay attention to what you're receiving from the other person, but I like asking the question, what am I committed to today in this relationship? What is it that I want to support to make happen? Am I committed to that? Because people look at a commitment from the other person to do certain things, to be a certain way, and that kind of thing. They forget that they're half of the relationship. And that it takes two to do this tangle. Including people get tangled up and only one doing it. But anyway,
it takes two.
Yeah, so the whole thing about, because I think a lot about when people people get caught up in what the other person is doing,
Mhm.
and they forget to look at themselves in terms of asking themselves the questions.
Right, right, right. What about you, Sheila? What do you think about this one?
I'm going to just springboard on what you said, Melva, because I think all of that is, of course, true. And then this question to me also triggers the possibility of an unhealthy relationship and questioning that, because sometimes we are attached to the dynamic. And if we're asking this question, I do think we have to ask, is this healthy for me? And love is healthy, and love isn't
Right.
about love is separate from commitment or obligation. So you can love a person and be attached, and you can be attached to a person and not be in a place of love. But if you're questioning this and those attachments don't feel healthy to you, I think it's really important to seek help.
All right. I love that. Last question really quickly while we have some time. I'm scared of commitment. He's talking about commitment. How do I get over that? That's such an interesting phrase of that question. How do I get over my fear of commitment? I guess that's how it would be put. Sheila, I'll go to you first for this one.
All right. So I think the foundation to this is, what are you committing to? And the fear is, if you're committing to that form of relationship that society is telling you you must commit to, that's a natural fear because you have to follow your own self and your own, and so, in my relationship, our only commitment is that each of us will follow our highest good. And in doing that, that means that as long as our relationship is meant to take this form, it will. And if it adjusts or changes over time, which I hope it does in beautiful ways, that will happen. So what does commitment mean to you? Are you committing to show up? Are you committing to hold your own truth, to look for the light in the other person and reflect that back to them? Or are you committing to some sort of form that doesn't feel comfortable to you?
Woo, woo. So see, now Sheila's preaching, Mom. You were preaching earlier, now you're
Yeah,
preaching.
Tag.
Sheila, Mom, what do you think? What
yeah,
do you think about this one?
yeah. I'm absolutely on the same page, because the question itself, I thought about life globally for this person in terms of
Mm,
what are they committed to in other areas of their lives as well, and what does
Yeah,
that look like for them, and what does
yeah.
commitment mean to them? I mean, that needs to be defined, because if you asked two people that question about what is commitment, you'll get two different answers. So it's really important for that person to be really clear about what commitment means to them. And if they're willing to do what it takes to commit to have an outcome that they would want
Mm,
in their
mm.
relationship,
Love.
anywhere in their life.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Thanks to both of you. This was a great conversation today. Why don't we get to some shameless plugs really quickly? Mom, you've got a free gift that you've been giving in our last couple of shows. Can you quickly kind of tell people about this?
Yes. So it's called 10 Secrets to a Long-Lasting Passionate Marriage. So I'm a big picture person in terms of looking at relationships. This is a quiz that couples can take, and it's the goal is for each person to take the quiz by themselves and then to share it with each other. And then they can look at the results that they have and look at where their starting point is to make things even better.
I love it. I love it. And Sheila, you've got some great things happening with fractal illumination. This is how many years have you guys been doing this now?
we've been doing it 10 years, and yeah, we have.
Wow.
And it's featured in the Healing Energy Healers Oracle, and we just found out that that is now 21 on the top 100 healing books of all times. So that's pretty exciting, right? So our next one is on April 27th. It's here in the Syracuse, New York area in person, but you can also receive it long distance. So you can check it out at my website, SheilaApplegate.com.
Oh, this is fantastic. Thanks to both of you. I hope our audience will go out and check out and capitalize on these opportunities for themselves to grow and to mature and to create even more love in their lives and more joy and more happiness. As I said before, just want to remind everybody that if you're in a situation and a relationship where you need some help, you can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can either go to their website at www.thehotline.org or dial 1-800-799-SAFE or 7233. Or you can even use your mobile phone and text START, that's START, to 88788, and you can get some support that you absolutely may need. You do not, there is support out here, there is resources out here. You do not have to do and go through whatever you're happening in your relationship alone. So please, check out those resources. We'll put that in our chat as well, so that people can learn more information how to get some support. Ladies, thank you so much. This is good. Just again, great conversation today. Really good questions today. I was like surprised, like, woo, all right, they're getting comfortable. People getting comfortable
Bring 'em
with
on.
this. Exactly. And if anyone out there has a question during our show, even after our show, you can either put questions in our chat, in the comment section below our videos, or you can email us at soulivity@soulivity.com, and we'll get some answers for you, or we'll put them in our next show so they can be answered. So we're here to help you, here to help serve. Thanks to both of you again. Listen, we're almost out of time. Just want to remind everybody that, listen, we're on social media where you can find us across the board on all the major platforms. Facebook, Instagram, we're even on Threads, but specifically follow us on YouTube, where you can find out every time that we go live. That's at Soulivity Magazine, as well as you can take us wherever you go on trips to work by downloading Soulivity Today podcast by visiting your major podcast provider like Spreaker or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We're all there. Listen, just want to say again to you guys, thanks for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.